We're back, and Darian and I are going to rapid fire this. We got a quick one coming. We're going to answer the most common questions that probably every trainer gets in their lives, but also every client has. So we're going to kick this thing off with Darian. I'm going to ask you, how often should a client work out to see results?
I love this question because I think I would guess that clients are hoping for like a magic number, right? Like this is the number. But the truth is, you have to pick a frequency that you can actually sustain and do consistently to see results. So even if that in the beginning is like 2 days a week, 30 minutes, you can be really efficient. Get a lot in 2 days a week for 30 minutes, and you will see results. Now, over time, of course, you need to progress. So you could bump it up, you could increase the time, but even just increasing the weight, the reps, something to progressively overload, you can see results in a really short amount of time. Would you agree?
I would agree. Repeatable and doable. That's my motto. I want to tell the listener that for every question that we always get in fitness, the answer is 2 words. It
Yeah.
depends on everything. Depends on where
Yeah.
the person's starting from in this like specific question. It depends on what they're training for. It depends on how much they can commit to, obviously. But I think to answer this question, we should simply say that whatever it takes to be consistent, because I think that's the one secret to fitness, to be consistent, whether that's you're starting from zero and you want to do 10 minutes a day, or you're starting from 5 days a week and you want to keep on that streak, keep doing that because it's going to lead to success.
Yeah. Because, ultimately, it's like there might be an optimal program, right? But if you can't do it, it doesn't matter.
Don't matter. The
Doesn't
best
matter.
workout is the one you'll do.
That's what we always say here. The best workout's the one you'll do. We love to say it. Okay, here's a good one, Joey. I'm gonna have a lot of thoughts and feelings about this, so good thing you're answering it. What's the best type of exercise for weight loss?
I think we got it wrong in the fitness industry. I think that exercise is for the mind and that nutrition is for the body. And so for weight loss specifically, in my experience, over 15 years now, that for people who want to lose weight or lose fat, it is very much diet based. And I tell clients all the time, train for muscle, diet or eat. I don't like using diet, but I'll say eat nutrition for your fat loss. So in my mind, the best exercise isn't more burpees, isn't more hill sprints. It is planning your meals. It's shopping for food. It's cooking. It is doing all the things in the kitchen. If I can write one piece of information for people to like on a billboard or something for people to just see real quick, it would be you cannot outrun a donut.
You cannot outrun a donut. Yeah, I get what you're getting at there. Yeah, I mean, it is like studied and proven that exercise is actually not an effective form of weight loss. And so many people want to start fitness because they want to lose weight, and really like they're not going to get where they think they're going. I mean, exercising is it's good for the mind, like you said, but it is good for the body. I mean, in terms of like health predictors and like health markers, yeah, huge benefits, but weight loss is really not one of them.
No, definitely not. And yeah, like don't get me wrong, exercise has its place for physical health, especially cardio, right, Darian? Cardio. Because when
Blech.
you go to the doctor, they don't say, "Hey, Darian, how much you bench press yesterday?" or "What'd you
I
deadlift?"
wish I wish they would.
They'd be
Gosh.
like, "Hey, let me listen to your heart. Let me see how your lungs are performing." That's what they care about, right? All right, next
Right.
question. Speaking of that, what should people focus on? Cardio or strength training?
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious my answer. Obviously, strength training. I'm not. I'm coming around to the fact, like, sure, cardio has a place. We all need to do it, sure, sometimes from time to time. But strength training, the benefits you get from strength training, it's like not just you're strengthening your muscles when you do strength training. You're strengthening your connective tissues. You're strengthening your bones. You're improving your blood glucose levels. You're improving your metabolism. You're building a core that is strong and durable. You're setting yourself up to live a life of hiking up mountains and jumping out of airplanes and chasing your kids around and being a Sherpa to your children. I mean, yeah, I think you gotta strength train if you're gonna pick one over the other.
A
Strength
Sherpa to
train.
your children. All the parents listening, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. A Sherpa.
I say that now. I'm like, all I am is a Sherpa.
You know, kids make you strong too, because they make you strong because you got to carry them, carry loaded
Mhm.
carries. Then you got to be on the ground all the time, so you got to be mobile, and then you got to get up and down off the ground. And they teach you patience, they teach you humility, they teach you everything. Uh,
We could have
anyways,
a whole episode about
yeah,
what
kids.
we think about parenting, which is a little off topic, but I will say I tell every mom parenting is the most the biggest physical challenge you will ever have. Like, oh, you're not getting to the gym right now, no problem, just take care of your kids because you're doing it's enough. Getting my kid into a car seat is like truly like the hardest thing I've ever done.
And that's
Like,
what we call DVRT, dynamic, varied resistance training. Loading kids
yeah,
in car
because your
seats.
kid is resisting that car seat so hard. They're kicking and screaming. They're leaning forward. It's like you got to push that kid in that car seat, buckle them up. It's crazy. It's crazy out there. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, strength training's the answer there. I think Joey agrees.
Uh, I
Yes.
agree somewhat, Darian, but you need both. Okay, I mean, every client of mine, you're not like, yes, you have aesthetic goals, you have performance goals, right? But the bigger piece of why you're doing this is to be healthier, longevity, to live as healthy as you can. And the only time, I've said this before, and I'm going to die on this hill, is that the only time that fitness comes before health is where the
In the
that's
dictionary.
right. And so even if you're a NFL wide receiver, okay, NFL stands for not for long, by the way. They still need to be, at some point their sport's going to end, right? As every athlete knows, right? Their sport's going to come to an end. So I'm just using that as an extreme example. But at some point they need to be focused on both cardiovascular health, mainly VO2 max, and how much muscle they have on their frame. And there's all these other things that go with that, like joint mobility and, like you said, soft tissue health and whatnot. But you need both, because you need a strong heart that actually grows. And maybe we should talk about this too, because strength training, resistance training actually shrinks the volume in your left ventricle. And aerobic exercise, but you get thicker walls, thicker left ventricle walls to pump, right? But you need cardio because you get more volume in that chamber, and so you need both. And like, just look at a powerlifter's left ventricle. It's like really thick walls, but the volume is like tiny. You look at Lance Armstrong's heart. It's like not thick walls, but super full. And so you need both to live a long, healthy life.
Gonna get thick, baby.
Get thick.
That's what I want.
T
So,
T
in
H
short,
I C T H I C thick.
yeah. So, in short, focus on strength training, I think is what we're all trying to say here. Anyway, moving right along. Joey, here's the next question. How long will it take to see visible results? This, I feel like you could really go in multiple directions here. So
Yeah, it depends on what the result is.
hard.
Like
Yeah, it's
like
hard.
is the result like, hey, I want to see ripped, shredded abs? Well, I have to know where you're coming from. I have to know what your background is. I have to know what your life's like. So again, the answer is it depends. But here's what I will say. In general, okay, you're going to feel, if I put someone on an exercise program, if they stick to it, they're going to see some sort of result. May not be what they're looking for, but I guarantee you that they'll see something in 30 days. I always tell people that this is not a 30-day sign up. It's not a 60-day. This is not a 2-year, 1 year. It's a lifetime membership. But I guarantee you, you will see something, have more energy, go to sleep, be more confident. Whatever it is, you're going to see some sort of result in 30 days.
Yeah, solid answer.
What do you think?
That's right. I think it's like be consistent, stick to your routine. Yeah, and you'll see a result.
And the other thing too, I think we should touch here is people's results nowadays, thanks to TikTok and Instagram. They think that they can look like the Olympian sprinter, right? And so
Mhm.
I encourage the listener to kind of tame down what result they're looking for and make sure it's realistic. And get with one of our trainers, and we'll We'll keep it real here at Trainwell.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Next one, you ready?
I sure am.
Darian, how can I get rid of my belly fat? Can I do more
I'm
crunches?
I'm so sad. I'm so glad. I didn't mean to say sad. I'm so glad this is the question I got. Um, I'm going to try to keep this brief because I know we're doing a rapid fire here. But first question: outside of extremes, right? If you are on the extreme end of being in a bigger body, maybe belly fat is a concern. If you just have a little bit of belly fat, really ask yourself like, what is so wrong? What is it? What am I so scared of? Why do I desperately want to get rid of this little bit of belly fat? So I think it's not, I think it's a mindset shift question. It's not how can I get rid of my belly fat? It's how can I embrace where my body is today and what healthy habits do I want to take on that I can take on realistically in my life? So maybe it's like, I do want to start a strength training routine. I do want to add a little bit of cardio into my week. So I'm going to do some, I'm going to do 2 walks and 2 strength training sessions. That's reasonable for me. And I'm going to focus a little bit more on protein and fiber and see where that gets you. You might not lose your belly fat. I think everyone has belly fat. That's okay. A little bit of fat is good for your body. But I guarantee you, if you stick to a fitness routine and you're focusing on fiber and protein and you're drinking water, you're going to feel so much better. And maybe you just won't care so much if you have a little belly fat.
Yeah, I think it's a mindset shift. Well said. That was actually pretty brief. I was getting comfortable over here thinking you go off on a tangent. Um, so I always break it down in 3 simple things. Move like an athlete if you want to lose fat, right? It's not just one thing, but move like an athlete, sleep like a baby, and eat like an adult. I'm going to keep it short.
Okay. Yeah, we can keep it there. Okay. So, Joey, maybe this question will give you a little bit of time to elaborate. Do I need to follow a specific diet to see results from my workouts?
Ooh, that's a good one. Number one, it's not diet, it is lifestyle. And so let's just throw that word out there. Okay, what do I need to follow a specific lifestyle to see results from my workouts? And the answer is yes, simply. Okay, yes. And that is drink more water. And people know this. That's what's such a pain in the butt is it's not a knowledge issue, it's a discipline issue. Eat more fruits and veggies, drink more water, prioritize protein, eat more fiber, and lastly, I would say is just watch the cardboard carbs. Okay, they get me. Like if I see those jalapeno kettle cooked chips, man, those things are crushed easily. But I know I have to keep that in check. Cardboard carbs or anything in a bag or the Cheez-Its, whatever, check those things. You do those things, I think your lifestyle is going to change too. So the other thing is obviously sleep, right? At least 7 hours. I think the research is clear. Without your phone on when you're laying horizontal, and move as much as you can. I mean, whether that's aiming for 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 steps a day. I mean, that doesn't count as your cardio, by the way, but hey, it's an expression of movement
Why? What are you saying?
because your heart rate is
One.
barely elevated. Maybe if you're on a hike or an incline walk, then sure,
Okay. Okay.
uh, but yeah, if you're starting off the couch, you could be getting fitter. You can make a case there, but there you go. Lifestyle changes, and then lift. Okay, and then I will say yes, strength training. I would say lifting though, whatever that is for the person. Like if they have like 10 kids, and that's their lift for sure. So there you go. There's my hot take on nutrition, sleep, and movement.
Yeah. Okay. So but I want to respond to what you said about like keep the what do you call them, cardboard carbs
Cardboard
in check.
carbs, yes, just keep them in check.
Yeah, I feel like all foods, there is a time and a place for all foods. Don't restrict yourself. You can eat the cardboard carbs, but I think when you're here, it's a mindset shift again, which is why are you eating those? Because you want to feel joy. You want to taste that food. It should be, like you really want to enjoy them. And think about how you feel after you have just like, you know, a small little bag of chips. Oh, delicious. Versus like the whole family size bag just munching mindlessly on the couch. It's not the feeling you're looking for. And I think that's the thing to keep in mind, the intention of why you're eating the foods you're eating. Like, a few pieces of dark chocolate that tastes delicious. The whole chocolate bar, now I'm feeling a little bit not the best. So I think that's a mindset shift we can have around those
Darian's getting a
less.
little more touchy feely here. Touchy feely, Darian. Yeah, keep them in check. That's my motto. Keep them in check. Okay,
So,
Darian, I want to gain some muscle. What is the best way to gain some muscle?
uh, eat enough food. I'll say that.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you can't really, you want to make sure you're fueling your body. If your goal is to gain muscle, you need to eat protein, you need to eat enough calories in a day. So eat food. And then also I would stick with like simply a hypertrophy style program. So we're looking at moderate weight, moderate reps.
What's hypertrophy?
Great question, Joey. That is muscle growth. So it's not so much we're focusing on like strength, but we're focusing on like building the actual muscle. So, we're going to train at a higher volume, where we're not training like our max weights, but we're training with a weight that we can do a higher volume with. So we're thinking like 8 to 12 ish reps. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I think the first thing you hit on is eat and make sure you're eating enough. Because the only way outside of surgery or performance enhancing drugs to get muscle, at least I know, is to actually be in a caloric surplus. I think people end up a lot, chasing their tails because they're not eating enough, but they're lifting like mad. So make sure your nutrition in check. Make sure you're eating adequate protein, which is up to, right, roughly strength athletes, I believe it's 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilo, or roughly zero point 0.7 to 1.0 grams per pound of body weight. Now that those numbers aren't for everybody, but make sure you're getting enough protein. Number two, stick to just again be consistent to get in the nuts and bolts. I mean, they're showing now you need, I believe it's 10 to 20 sets per week per body parts, taken moderately close to failure. You don't have to train to failure like a madman, but whatever can make you consistent with that. So ideally stay on the lower end. In general, 10 to 20 sets is the sweet spot. Train with intent. So don't be walking away from the weights knowing you could have thrown 8, 10 more reps around. Like, work yourself. Push yourself to 1 to 2 reps, 3 reps shy of failure. At least one set, if not 2 sets. If you're really advanced, 3 sets. Some of the top bodybuilders even worked up to 1 set. But anyways, whatever you can do, be consistent, check your nutrition, and train hard. Train hard, Boston. All right.
Okay. This one's for you, Joey. How do I prevent injury while working out? I would refer, well, I know it's your question, but I would refer people to our episode on corrective exercise, because that was a great one. And the one we did that's coming out about medical fitness as well.
Oh, totally. Well, I would say that pain and injuries is a whole different topic. But in general, keep your stress in check. Make sure you're sleeping enough. Make sure you're laughing at the end of the day. Make sure you're having meaningful relationships. It's not always like, hey, I need to make sure my back doesn't round from a deadlift, right? Sure it is. But make sure those things are in check. Make sure you're happy at the end of the day. You're full of gratitude, because the body keeps score. That's a great book. But everything you do in life is cumulative. And so if you're showing up to that session and you're fatigued, you're stressed, you're wired, that's going to show up in how well your spine is hydrated, just for example. So check yourself before you wreck yourself. That's step one. Make sure you're happy. Number two is don't train like an idiot. And what I mean by this is get with a trainer. If you've never been coached on a movement, do your research. I mean, you can be a doctor on YouTube now, but check your movements, get a coach, right? Come to Trainwell, examine your movements, examine your faults, and also pay attention to your mobility. Pay attention.
If you can't bend, you'll break.
Yes. And lastly, I'm talking too much, but check your breath. Make sure you're breathing appropriately, okay? Don't be breathing up in your neck with your head all forward, smelling salts and all that. Breathe from your belly. Learn to move effectively like a ninja. All right, what should I do if I hit a fitness plateau? I've trained my butt off for 6 months, 12 months. Where do I go from here?
Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting question, because it all depends on what you think a plateau, what does a plateau mean to you? It depends on what your goals are, right? But I would say if you're still looking to progress in some way, like you might just be happy in maintenance mode, like that's a fine place to stay for a bit, or for forever, you know, like I would say if you're still looking to like, okay, get faster, get stronger, or whatever it may be, um, mix it up. Like make sure you're actually progressing. Like you're not going to get anywhere from doing the same exact workout and the same exact rep range, the same exact weights for months and months and months on end. Like if you've done something for about 8 weeks, you're not seeing progress. Definitely like make sure, like, have you upped your weights? Have you upped your reps? Have you increased your time under tension? Have you gotten some different movement patterns in there, to jumpstart things again? Like that's a good place to look. Another place to look is, of course, nutrition. Like, are you actually eating enough, fueling your body in the right way? And another place to look would be recovery, because I mean, if you're not recovering and you're still doing a pretty rigorous routine, you're going to see diminishing returns, and that can be really defeating. I've definitely been there, and then taking some time off, taking a break, really made the biggest difference. What else would you add, Joey?
Hire a trainwell trainer. I love what you said about recovery too, because most of the time it's not overtraining, it's under recovery for sure.
Yeah, I think that that's accurate. Okay, so how much rest? Oh, perfect. How much rest should I? Well, this is kind of related. How much rest should I take between workouts? But I would also add in there, if you don't mind answering, what should people's rest look like between like sets, depending on the type of workout they're in? So between workouts, between sets.
So let's address specific goals without going too deep here. Well, we know from maximal strength, right, you should be resting at least 3 minutes. Some powerlifters, then by the way, if you ever want to get strong, talk to a powerlifter because they know, or strongman because they are mad scientists.
Hey,
But
so listen to our episode that's gonna be coming out. That's gonna be out by the time we release this. We talked to a powerlifter.
yeah, just chime in for sure. So at least 3 minutes between big lifts, up to like 10 minutes, right? Like powerlifters sessions take like 3 hours. Between smaller lifts and the big lifts are simply like a max deadlift, a max Olympic clean and jerk, right? A truly or 1 RM, but you should be examining how much you're pushing a 1 RM. For hypertrophy, it can be as low as 30 seconds. It could be up to even 90 seconds to 2 minutes, as long as the intent is there. And again, hypertrophy is actual muscle tissue growth. So if you want to like a really good burn, like in your, like, let's say you're doing a shoulder complex, like 5 shoulder exercises back to back to back, like hit all of them back to back and then rest 30 seconds and then boom, get into it again. That's a great hypertrophy stimulus as long as you're training with intent. And then if you're going for more of a, I'll have my own thoughts on this. If you're more endurance based, then they say, 20 to 30 seconds between bouts. Although I think endurance athletes should lift heavier and not be so focused on the high reps because it just burns you out more than anything. In terms of, that's very general, so there you go. But in terms of rest between workouts, it really depends on your routine. Like, am I doing total body? Then I would say at least 1 day in between lifts. If I'm doing upper lower, I can stack an upper lower and then I can take 1 or 2 days off and then do another upper lower. If I'm doing a 6-day bro split where I'm doing chest 1 day, back 1 day, I can consecutively stack those workouts. So check your programming. Just make sure you're listening to your body. I like to have people pay attention to the resting heart rate too, to see what that's doing. Keep it chill.
Good stuff.
What are some good exercises to improve flexibility?
Honestly, doing lifting is going to improve your flexibility. Like if you're lifting weights, like you get more mobile as you lift for sure. But if we're talking just like mobility, and bigger range of motion, I think, well, one, it depends on like in what areas you're trying to improve. Like I think a lot of people probably these days are sitting in front of a screen. They need to really open up their chest and get some more mobility through the shoulders. So there's a lot of really good shoulder slides, like wall slides, where you're against the wall and you're kind of got your elbow, like your hands are in like cactus position and you're sliding your arms up and down the wall. That's a good one. Like pull aparts are really good. Just any sort of like shoulder rolls, chest openers, laying on the floor is really nice. Feet up the wall. I think like hips, Cossack squats, pancake good mornings. You're sitting in a straddle position, doing some 90-90 hip swivels. So like, I don't even know how to explain that. Sitting with your feet flat and your knees up, and then swishing your knees back and forth like windshield wiper style. Those are all really good. But really, again, if you want to improve your flexibility, you got to do a routine consistently, no matter what it is. If it's like a yoga class you go to a couple times a week, or a quick mobility stretch routine that you do at the end of each day, the more consistent you can be with it, you're going to start to see those mobility gains. I personally think flexibility is slower to see the gains than like strength. So you got to really stick with it. But once you start seeing those gains, gosh, does it feel good? I will say that.
That's good result. I would say this too. Breathe. And we should have a podcast where we talk about flexibility versus mobility. Because if you're doing like a Romanian deadlift, for instance, right, and you're going like
tensing against, if you're tensing, resisting,
your brain's thinking, yo, this is not registering safe motion. So breathe before you bend. Breathe and bend. Now I want to flip flop gears here. You ready? Or did you just ask the last question?
No, yeah, let me ask you this one. Can I target fat loss in specific areas of my body? I love this one for you. You got something to say about it, I can tell.
Yes, this is the spot reduction myth. The answer is clearly no. Like if you have fat behind your arms, or if you have the beer gut right in your stomach, like no, doing 1,000,000 crunches will not burn fat in that area. It just won't. What will is your hormone profile, your recovery. Basically, your body's going to dictate where you're going to lose fat from. So be patient with the process. Again, it's a lifestyle change.
Genetics, people, they play the biggest role in body shape and size. They really do. People think that your genetics do not play as big of a role in this as like your height, for example, but like you can't change your genetics. Like your genetics are going to really affect like where you lose fat. They just are.
All right. What supplements should I take to support my fitness goals?
Well, supplements are just that. They're supplemental. Nobody needs to take supplements. If you're, eating a well-rounded, balanced diet, you're getting all 3 macronutrients, you're getting fruits and vegetables, and you don't need to take supplements. Of course, there are some supplements that could help. Like if you're not getting enough protein from food, taking a protein powder could be good. If you're, not eating as many fruits or vegetables as you would like, or you live in a location where there's not fresh fruits and vegetables, doing like a green powder can help. I'm actually been drinking one each morning myself. It's kind of nice.
Which one?
It's called Live It Up.
Nice.
It actually tastes really nice if you add a lot of ice cubes. So it's been good. I mean, there are definitely ways. I mean, taking vitamins is always nice, but I know a lot of people take creatine, and they find that really helpful. And that one is really widely studied. So that's something to investigate potentially, but you don't need supplements. You can have a really great result with just eating balanced diet and doing a fitness routine.
Yes, and make sure you get your blood work done. That's the first thing. See where you're deficient in. See what's going on under the hood. Because if you're deficient in some sort of, you may need some supplements.
Yes, if you're deficient. Okay. Get your face in the sun. Okay. How can I stay motivated to keep working out consistently?
Go back and listen to our episode on motivation with Trainer Andrew and Trainer Megan. Motivation's big. It doesn't last. Either does bathing. That's why we recommend it daily. But truly figure out, have a sit down with yourself, have a sit down with your loved ones, figure out what you're trying to accomplish and why. Because if you don't do that, if you don't take the time to map out what you're doing, whether that's in not just in fitness, but let's just say in finance or even your faith, right? You got to get real with why you're doing, because that motivation is going to run out. So how do we find motivation? We sit down with ourselves, we figure out where we're going, we're figuring out why we're going, and we're going to attack it. Now, there's going to be ups and downs, but hey, we're going to go on autopilot eventually.
I was just listening to a podcast episode about defiance, and they were talking about living in accordance with your values. Like defiance should be this thing that you do when when something is being asked of you that is not in accordance with your values. And one of the questions you can ask yourself is, am I the type of person who? And I think that that can work for fitness, because like we can't rely on motivation. So ask yourself, am I the type of person who values and prioritizes my workout routine? Am I the type of person who misses a workout? And start shifting your identity. Am I the type of person who loves to move my body? Yes, I am. So I'm going to do it.
All right, we got one more. You want to hit it?
Yeah, let's hit it. Should I be lifting heavy weights or focusing on lighter weights with more reps? I know exactly what Joey's going to say.
I don't think you do. I don't. Okay, go ahead. What am I going to say?
It depends. It depends on your goals.
Yes, but I will say this. In general, the answer is not lightweight for more reps. The answer is not heavyweight for low reps. Sometimes it is, I guess. But the answer is heavyweight for high reps. Pretty much, what can I sustain to challenge myself but make me feel good? Unless I'm a power lifter, unless I'm a strongman, unless I'm an Olympic weightlifter, then yes, I have to do heavy weight for single reps. But in most cases, most of the time, we're looking to get healthier, to put on muscle and live a better life. Heavy weights, as heavy for as heavy as you can go, or how high in reps you can go.
Yeah, I didn't think I was going to agree with you, but I do. I think it's just like, yeah, challenge yourself, lift heavy weights. It feels really good. But what you're saying is that number is relative. If you're just starting out, 8 pounds might feel heavy. If you've been in the game for a while, up it to 50s or more.
Or more. Get those hundreds out. I used to joke that hundreds were for show in our gym. Anyways,
Same.
thanks so much, listener, for tuning in. There's our rapid fire questions. We're going to come back with more because we get questions every single day. So stay tuned.
Bye, everyone. Thanks, Joey.